So hello. So today we'll see how to work with the standard text in print forms. So what is standard text? Standard text is nothing but some reusable text. Reusable text. Example for reusable text is terms and conditions. Terms and conditions. Okay? Or any instructions. Any instructions. Terms and conditions. When we are working in a project, we may need to prepare multiple print layouts for different functionalities. But terms and conditions or instructions might be common in all the print layouts. Okay, in all the print layouts. Usually, how can we type or enter text in Smartfroms? We create a window. Inside the window, we create the
Text.
text
Text.
element, and inside the text element, we write some text. If it is a dynamic value, we insert the symbol like
In that fields.
insert field option we use it to insert the dynamic text. If it is some standard text like any terms and conditions, right, or any instructions kind of text, how can we print that? Let me show you here. I'll create a new window. I'll rename it to terms. In this, if you need to print any long text, any text, create a text inside the window. Observe here, what is the text types available? Text types available. Text element. Text element means you can type your text here. Whatever the text you want, you can type it here. Let me adjust the zoom of this.
Sir, how to expand this one?
There should be some zoom option. We need to set it to 100%. Also in some systems, due to the system settings also it will display like this. Okay. So this is MS Word based editor. Okay. Word based editor. Due to some system settings also it will display like this. Yeah, I think here we have the option to display the size. Okay. So, okay. If it is text element, you can directly type here.
So, but I use it, but after saving it, it will come back to the same position only, sir.
Okay, that's okay. No problem, no issue. Yeah, there is some system issue here. Usually it should not be like this. If you try in the other server, okay, there is some system settings issue, don't worry about this. So when you need to provide some static text or some constant text, you can type it here by using text element option, or if you want to insert any dynamic values, you can use insert field option, right? But can we use the same text in any other layout, in any other smart form? Whatever the text we are typing here, can we use same text in any other smart form? The text what we are using here, we cannot
Input text.
we cannot reuse it. You need to type again. You need to prepare the text again in the new form also, right? For example, let's take some example. So this is the example document, how terms and conditions will be printed on any documents. Take some images or if you take this is some bill. Okay, it is asking some login. Mm, observe this. If you observe this is one layout, some booking confirmation, print layout, invoice, right? Here they are printing the date, name and booking reference number. Here they are printing the billing address, shipping address. Yesterday you have seen, right, like how to create the address. Place the address window and pass the address number dynamically. It will automatically display the address. Here we display the transactions in the tabular format, right? And here in this space we display some terms and conditions. Terms and conditions will be like this. For example, in the next page, these are all the booking terms and conditions, right? So we need to maintain all these terms and conditions in our form. Let me copy some terms and conditions. Copy this. Let me paste it here. There is some issue with the editor here, but if you try in the other system, it should work fine. Or I'll go to line editor. So these are the terms and conditions. So these are my terms and conditions. Let me adjust some issues. You can also edit like this. Star means new line. It will print the text in new line. If you was equal to continuity to the previous line, if you use equal to here, there are a lot of symbols here. We'll discuss all of the symbols later. If you want to extended line, you can use equal to. If you use star, it will automatically print the text in next line. Okay. So let's say these are the terms and conditions we are using. Can we use these terms and conditions in other form? Can we reuse the same terms and conditions? If you directly type here in the smart form text element, there are a lot of lines here, right? Lot of text is here, which we are maintaining here. Can we reuse this text in any other form? If we type directly here, we cannot reuse. We cannot reuse same terms and conditions in other smart forms. Okay, but how can we reuse these terms and conditions? If we can keep this text in standard text, if we can keep this text in standard text, we can reuse these terms and conditions in multiple smart forms. Let's assume there are terms and conditions which we are using in 15 forms. Individually, we are not reusing it. Individually, we have maintained the terms and conditions text in 15 smart forms. We just hard coded it directly, type in the individual smart form. Let's say after few days there is a change in terms and conditions. For example, previously the cancellation window is 30 days. Now they changed the cancellation window to 20 days. Booking cancellation window to 20 days. So that change should be reflected in terms and conditions, right? We need to change the terms and conditions, right? If there is a change in policies, we need to change the terms and conditions. Now tell me, in how many smart forms you need to go and update the terms and conditions?
50.
If you are, since you are using these terms, individual terms and conditions in 15 forms, you need to go to all these 15 smart forms and update the terms and conditions text, right? Let's assume we are not hard coding or we are not directly typing terms and conditions text in the smart form, and we created it as a standard text. We created it as a standard text and using that standard text in our smart form, all the 15 smart forms. Now, do we need to go to all the 15 smart forms to change the text? No need.
No.
Just go to the
No, sir.
standard text. Just go to the standard text and update it. So it will reflect automatically in all the smart forms. For that, here text type should be include text. If you take include text, you can use a standard text. Standard text nothing but reusable text. Reusable text. What is the transaction code to create the standard text?
SO10.
SO10 is the transaction code to create the standard text. Is it client independent or client dependent object? It is a client dependent object. Standard text is a client dependent object. That means it's not going to uh, apply the changes to the other client automatically. If you create the text in client number 100, these changes are local to only that client. Those changes will not be automatically applied to client number 200 in the same system, in the same development system. For example, if you create a program, SC38 program in client number 100, you can see same program in client number 200 because it is a client independent object. If you create a table in client number 100, the same table can be available in client number 200 because it is a client independent object. But SAP scripts and standard texts are client dependent objects. Changes are not going to automatically apply to the all clients of the system. What you need to do to apply the changes to other clients? You need to do client copy. You need to do client copy. What is the transaction code for client copy?
SEC1.
SSC1.
SCC1 is the transaction code for client copy. Okay, so you can copy changes of one client to other client. Clear? For that, to do that, what you need to do? You need to add the standard text to the transaction code. When you create a program and when you assign a object, sorry, when you assign a package, is it going to create a transport request or not? It will ask for a transport
Yes.
request for, right? When you assign a package to the program, tables, data elements, domains, right? Whatever the object you create, if you assign package, it will ask for a transport request because they are client independent objects. But here for standard text, it won't ask for a transport request. It won't ask for a transport request. But without the transport request, how can you move the standard text from development to test system? Can we move it without the transport request?
No.
No, we can't move it. But it is not going to generate any transport request for standard text. For that, we need to manually add standard text to the transport request. We need to manually add standard text to the transport request. For that, we use a program RSTX TRAN. This is the program we use to add standard text to the transport request manually. And SCC1 is to copy the changes from one client to another client. For example, you created the standard text in 100 and you want to apply that standard text change it to 200, where in which client you need to execute SCC1 in a target client. That means where you want to move the changes. For example, I need the changes to be moved to 200. Now I need to execute SCC1 in 200. What is the input for SCC1? Transport request. Okay. So if you create a standard text, can we use the standard text in programs also? Can we use the standard text in programs also? Can we display the standard text in programs also as output? We can use read text function module. We can use read text function module to read the standard text. What is the function module to read the standard text? Read underscore
Read.
text. This is the function module which we can use to read the standard text. In programs or function modules within the class methods, if you want to access the standard text, we can use read text function module. In Smartfroms, we pass it as a include text. We pass it as a include text. Let's create some standard text and see how we can use it in the Smartform. What is the transaction code for standard text?
SO10.
SO10.
SO10. All the reusable text we are going to maintain in SO10 transaction code. We are not going to directly type it in Smartforms, right? Because if there are any future changes, it is difficult to maintain in all these forms, right? And there is one more other advantage if you maintain it as a standard text. Smartforms is like too much technical. Like ABAP developers has to do the changes if there is any changes to the text. But if you take SO10, it is not that much complicated. Even functional consultant also go to the standard text and change the text whatever he want. Right? It is very convenient and easy to maintain if you use the standard text. How to create the standard text? Provide the standard text name. For example, zdemo terms conditions. Create the text. By default, it is showing line editor. But let me check. Is there go to change editor? Go to change editor for Word, MS Word based editor. Let me check. Is it? This is the MS Word based editor. You can also type here. But if you go to the line editor, change editor, you can also type here. But this is not as convenient as a MS Word based editor. What do you mean by star here? Star means next paragraph. Star means default paragraph or next paragraph. So if you use star, that line will be printed in the next line. If you use equal to, like this, This is one line. If you type anything in the next line, if you type anything in the next line, if you use star, it will print in the next line. For example, if you use star here in this line editor, if you use star here, so this will print in one line, and this will take it as a separate line, next line. Okay. But if you use equal to, it will print as a continuous text. It will print as a continuous text. Even it won't give any space here. It will print like this. If you use equal to, it will print like this. Even it won't consider any space between previous line statement and this one. Okay. But when we use equal to, when space is not enough in the first line and when you need to go to the second line in line editor. Okay. At that time we use equal to. Let me copy some terms and conditions. I'll copy the same terms and conditions, paste here. When we use equal to, is like this. Server is slow. 1 second. Now I'm trying to type function modules, but it is not allowing further. This is the limit for the first line in the line editor, right? If you want to print in the smart form as a continuous text, what you need to do? func duals. Function modules, function. Now what we need to give here?
Equal to.
Equal
If
to.
you give equal to, it won't consider a space, right? If you want to print it as a continuous text like this, function as a single word, you should use equal to. Okay. Space means, if we don't use equal to, means it will give one single space between previous line word and the starting line, second line word. But if you use equal to, it will print as a continuous text. Okay. But you can simply use the word based editor. It is very slow. I'm just pasting all the terms and conditions which I've copied. Save the standard text. Save that standard text. That's it. We have saved that standard text, and go to line editor and check how this text is maintained. It should take care of all the paragraphs and everything. There's a lot of unnecessary spaces and everything. For example, instead of the space, right, if you use equal to, it will remove space between the previous line and the next line. It will print as a extended line. That means no space between this bookings bracket and this non-refundable. It will take it as a single word, right? If you want to split the single word into two lines, you need to use equal to. Okay. Now my standard text is ready. What is my standard text name? ZDemo terms and conditions. Now go to my smart form. What is the text you need to select? Include text,
Include.
and provide the standard text name here. In the text name, conditions and everything you can use. If you want to display standard text based on some condition, you can use the conditions tab, condition options. What is a text object? Text object is nothing but text. There should be a object name called text. Or let me use F4 to find it. This one, text. Text object is text. Text ID. Text ID is standard text, I think. ST. Standard text. You need to select that. Language, EN. Okay. You need to provide this details. Text object is nothing but text. Text ID is ST. Right. We'll see paragraph formats later. If you go to properties, and output options, these are very common on any text element. Conditions, you can also apply the conditions. Now save this and activate this. Now go to our driver program. We have created a program, right? But what is very important, in terms and conditions, in which window we placed it? In a secondary window.
Secondary window.
So what is the property of secondary window? This window, fixed width, right? Secondary windows are fixed width windows, right? We need to make sure there is enough space we maintained to print all the terms and conditions. We have to give enough space in the window for that terms and conditions. Otherwise, it cannot print complete data, right? You need to maintain specific window size, or you need to maintain it in the main window so that it will automatically expand. Now activate it. Now go to your driver program and check. What is the program we created? This one. Provide some material number. Execute. We have maintained some unnecessary space here. So these are the terms and conditions which are printing from where it is printing?
Standard text.
Standard text. But is it printing the complete data? No,
No.
it is just printed only few lines because there is no enough space in that window. What I'll do, I'll make it as a main
Keep it
window.
in.
I'll make it as a main window and check how it will work. So if there is not enough space, it should automatically expand to the next page. I did the changes to the smart form. I'll reopen the program. I think yesterday I've added some conditions for the logo window. I'll remove those conditions. These conditions I'll remove. Activate the form. Reopen the smart form. Sorry, driver program. Okay, execute the program. Execute. What is the error? Is it active? Is our form active? Smart form is active. There is some system exception. Looks like this window is somewhere it is overlapping. Let me change it to the secondary window and try. Usually we place secondary windows or terms and conditions in the last page, right? The last page of the print layout, and we can use secondary window with some fixed width. Let me try again. Yeah, looks like somewhere it is overlapping. So this is the standard text, that is printing from SO10. Okay. So in the next session, we'll create one complete form, including table, tabular data, and we'll see more options. So this is how we can print the standard text in smart forms. We need to use include text option. Now we created the standard text, right? So when we create the smart form and we assign it to the package and it is asked for a transport request, and we we can transport this smart form to the test system by using transport request. But what happens if we create the standard text? It's not creating any transport request, right?
Yes, sir.
But how can we transport standard text to the test system?
RTX.
Transport
For
request.
that, we need to add that standard text to the transport request. What is the program we can use to add the transport request to the standard text? RSTXTRAN. This is the program. RSTXTRAN is the program. Execute it. What is the input for this program? Standard text name, transport request number. Here you need to enter the transport request number, to which transport request number you want to add the standard text. And here you need to provide standard text. What are all the standard text objects you want to add it to the transport request. You can also add multiple by using the select option. You can also add multiple standard text to one single transport request. Now we have created only one, but in general, you can add multiple standard text to one single transport request number. First, we need a transport request number, right? First, we need a transport request number. Go to SC09 to find a transport request number which we created for our development. Select modifiable transport requests, display. If there is no existing transport request number, we need to create our own transport request. So these are created by some other users. Let's create our own transport request number. Let's create our own transport request number. How to create a transport request number from SC09? You know how to create it from program. So when it is asked you a transport request, you can click on create new transport request number when you are creating the object. But how can you create without creating any objects like programs or data elements or domains? In SC09, you can create an empty transport request and use it later. Click on create request. Click on create request and provide the description. I'll take a separate class how to work with transport requests. So this is how we provide the description and click on save. It should automatically generate one transport request number. It will automatically generate one transport request number. This is the one. I think description is incorrect. Let me go to properties, change it, change the description, save it. Description is saved. Now, is there any objects in this transport request number? Is there any objects? No, it is empty. It is empty. We have to add objects going forward. When you are creating a program, you can choose this transport request. What is the type of transport request is created?
Customizing.
Customizing.
Customizing. Customizing is for system configurations and all. We need workbench transport request. I think here I did not select workbench. Select workbench transport request and click on display. Or you can create from initial screen itself. You can create from initial screen itself. Now it is showing workbench transport requests also. If you have any transport request already created for your requirement, just select the transport request, copy the transport request and use it. But if you want to create your own, click on create. Click on save. It will generate a new transport request number. This one, right? So it is unclassified. It is workbench transport request, but it is unclassified. You need to change the type. You need to change the type. Right click on it, or you have option here in request. Change type as a development correction. I'll explain what is repair. When you change any standard objects, this repair transport request will create. Development and correction. I've changed it to development and correction. Now copy the transport request, control Y and copy this, select this and control C. Now go to rstxtran, enter the transport request number, enter the transport request number. Now what you need to enter here?
Standard text name.
Standard text name. Whatever the standard text, you want to add it to the transport request. That's text name you need to enter here. This is my text. If you have single text, enter here. If you need to add multiple texts, go to select options and add here. Okay, my standard text is added. Now click on enter or execute. Click execute. Select what are all the standard text you want to transfer to the transport request. Click enter. Now transfer text to corrections. Transfer text to corrections. Click on this button. Yes. Do you want to add text to the correction? Yes. Changes to the objects are only allowed in correction and repair. So what we need to give? What is the task I have given here? Main task, right? I have to give subtask. Provide the subtask. Instead of main task, in the transport request, provide the subtask. Continue. Continue. Transfer the corrections. Now, that standard text is added to the transport request. Now go to SC09 and check. Refresh. Currently it is empty. Refresh. Now you can see some objects inside this. SAP script text. SAP script text in the transport request. Standard text is added to the transport request. Okay. If you want to remove, if, for example, by mistake you added the standard text to the transport request, but you don't want to transport the standard text to the test system. You created by mistake, and you don't want to move this. What you can do? Place the cursor on that object. Go to subtask. Place the cursor on the object and click on delete. It will delete that particular object from transport request number. It's not going to delete the actual object. The actual object will be like here only. Okay, it won't delete the original object. Original object will be there, but it will delete it from transport request. It is same for any object: program, tables, data elements, domains. If you want to remove, if you don't want to transport that particular object to the test system, what you need to do? Go to the transport request, click on that object and click on delete. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
And before doing that, if it is unnecessary for you, if you don't want this text anymore, first to delete this text and delete it from transport request. For example, you created a program and that program is not useful anymore. No one is going to, no, sorry, that program is not useful. You don't want to move that to the test system. What you need to do? First to delete the program in SC38 and delete that object in transport request, so that you are not going to move that changes to test system. Okay, so this is how we can add standard text to the transport requests. Okay, what about SCC1? To do the client copy, go to transaction code SCC1, but here we are in the same client number 800, but actually in which client you need to execute? In the other client, to
Target
in the
client.
other client where you need to copy the standard text. Proceed with a new transaction code SCC1N. There is a new transaction code, but the functionality is same. For now, I'm not using that new transaction code. No, I'm clicking on no. What you need to enter here? Source client. What is the source client? Client number 800. What is the currently? Let's assume we are in client number 900. We created the standard text in client number 800, and we need to copy that standard text to client number 900. Now we need to go to client number 900 and execute the SCC1 and provide the source client as 800 and provide the transport request number here. Before that, what you need to do? You need to add standard text to this transport request number using rstx tran and start immediately. Because I am executing in the same client, source client is same as login client. That's why it is not accepting. Let me try client number 0. Change request has no or incorrect source. Okay, just click on yes. Copy client specific data. So it will automatically copy that client dependent data from client 000 from to client number 800. Whatever the client dependent data, we are working with configurations, standard text, SAP scripts, whatever the client dependent data, which is not going to copy automatically to the other client. What you need to do? You need to use a SCC1 to copy data from one client to another client. Okay, is everyone clear? So in the next session, we'll create a complete smart form using tabular data, standard text, and different other options. Okay, clear?
Okay, sir.
So practice, everyone, practice how to create standard text and how to add it to the transport request. Okay.